The Master of Prayer. With God's help, Erev Rosh Chodesh Iyar 5721. My whole thing is prayer. The love of my heart, Mr. Zalman Shazar, who penetrates with a flame of fire to the depths of the sea of wisdom of the Tzaddik, the Master of Prayer, who rises people up from the sea of heresy and apostasy to the highest faith, peace, and all eternal good in this world and the next. Rejoice, oh rejoice in the salvation of God, that you merited good and strong desires and yearnings, and with them you are achieving much for the benefit of the concerns of the Tzaddik, who is the King's true Son. He is the Master of Prayer. He is the seven beggars, Rabbi Nachman's stories. He is the generalization of all the great and choice tzaddikim, unique in the generations, who revealed such teachings and stories that never before have been heard, and they are our main hope for all generations of the world. The awesome stories, even though we have no grasp of even though we have no grasp of or mental inkling about them, even so it is understood and revealed, literally perceptible to the eye of everyone, that they all contain very amazing and awesome words. Whatever idea or discovery we find in the stories is just a general hint, less than a drop in the sea, for the secret of the essence of the story itself is very far above and beyond our minds. The story of the Master of Prayer is an amazing and awesome story, truly amazing, and according to its simple meaning, it describes every type of sensible moral teaching and straight path, and it arouses amazing desire to serve God in all who read it, and it tells in general about all sorts of mistakes and false reasoning of lies and errors that are found in the world, and about their discernment and rectification. And behold, the Master of Prayer, who always was involved with prayers and songs and praises to God, was dwelling outside of civilization, except that he was accustomed to enter the settlement in order to entice and to induce people to serve God, to go in his way. And whoever agreed with him, they immediately brought him outside the settlement, for most settlements of the world are very far from the true purpose of life, and all the behavior of the Master of Prayer and these men was to turn away from the custom of the settled world, the majority of which is drawn after the vanity of the world and its pleasures and lusts. And therefore the Master of Prayer with his men was forced to dwell outside of civilization, and In this place where the master of prayer was dwelling, there was a river before him, and trees and fruit, and they ate from the fruit. And about their clothing he was not strict at all. The true tzaddik, who works and at drawing people near to serving God, dwells with his men outside of civilization, meaning that all his dwelling and behavior certainly is literally the opposite of the ways of civilization, whose actions are vain, and who pursue luxuries and are preoccupied with the vanities of time. But the tzaddik with his men are completely far from all this, and are satisfied with what they have. Chapters of the Fathers 4, number 1. And especially about clothes and garments, they are not particular at all. At all. And they dwell completely outside of civilization, literally, and in all their ideas and customs. And they toil only in prayer and songs and praises to God, and repentance and confession and fasting, etc. And for these men, any service of God that appeared to the majority of the world very difficult to accept on themselves, yet for these men all this is more precious than all the pleasures in the world, for they have more pleasure from a great mortification, or fast, or the like, than all the pleasures of the world. But even though they dwell outside of civilization, they still would enter the settlement all the time in order to draw more people near to the service of God, and they conducted themselves in this with great wisdom, for the people of the settlement were waiting for the master of prayer to capture him, and this was because the world had become so confused and erring in their fallacious ideas that someone who was close to the true purpose of existence and spoke against their fallacious ideas, and who worked to draw people near to serving God, they rose up against him with hatred and a great war, and waited for him to trap him and to capture him. Therefore, one must engage in this, entering the settlement to talk to people about serving God with great wisdom. The true tzaddik, who is the master of prayer, has such food that when people merit to eat and taste from those foods, they immediately throw away their lust for money, and they feel the great villainous of money, vileness of money, that stinks literally like excrement, until they are very embarrassed with the money, and the money is the greatest source of shame of all shames, and whoever has more money is more ashamed. And also low status people who lack money are also embarrassed with themselves that they were so insignificant in their own eyes because of their lack of money, For now it is revealed to them just the opposite. Money is the main source of shame, and therefore the rich are even more embarrassed, and they bury themselves in pits of dirt due to the great shame that they have one from the other, until they cannot raise their faces at all from the shame. For those foods of the Master of Prayer contain this remedy, that through them people despise money with the essence of disgust, and throw away the gods of silver and gold, and the gods of gold, as it will be in the future. Isaiah 31. One who truly wants to think about the purpose of life and is forced to live amongst people who are totally far from this purpose must then also be careful that in his mind, at the very least, he will be outside of civilization, and to distance his thoughts and mind and all his behavior from every aspect of alien mannerisms and alien traits and even ideas and evil ideas and thoughts of falsehood that exist and are very common amongst most people of the settled world. The author who seeks your peace and prayers for your salvation and success. Israel Odessa.